Vystopia is a term coined by psychologist Claire Mann to describe the anguish of being vegan in a non-vegan world. It's the desperate sadness you feel when you think about the experience of an innocent animal, trapped and helpless. It's the confusion and betrayal that you feel when your loved ones look the other way and carry on contributing to the suffering. It's the paralysis you feel when you're struck by the overwhelming scale of it all. In short, Vystopia is the horror and despair that you feel when reflecting on the scale and cruelty of what our non-vegan societies do to innocent animals with no apparent care. Sufferers of Vystopia have a dilemma. On the one hand, ruminating on these extremely upsetting ideas is bound to lead towards some depressive feelings. But on the other hand, looking the other way to preserve our own feelings feels like being one of the only people who cares about animals and turning your back. How can we do more to help animals when just thinking about factory farms can make us feel traumatized? This video is a practical guide to living with Vystopia in a way that will help the animals to suffer less, but that will also help you to suffer less. The animals are the ultimate victims here, we know that, but they need advocates to be strong and active and not burnt out. This video aims to help Vystopia sufferers, but mainly with the goal of helping them to help animals. So here's my advice for living with Vystopia. Think about that feeling that you get when you finish watching Earthlings or Dominion. That empty, aghast, hopeless feeling of horror and despair. That might be one of the worst feelings that a human can experience. And at the same time, that feeling is extremely valuable if it can be channeled into meaningful action. These documentaries cost millions of dollars to make, and they deliberately instill that feeling because they know that it's a powerful motivator for action. It's that feeling that motivates people to become vegan, motivates vegans to become activists, and motivates activists to do more and more and more for animals. The key word here is motivation. If you don't have it, that sadness and anger is just that, sadness and anger. But if you do have motivation, that sadness and anger can be channeled into absolute rocket fuel. Before you blast off, you should make sure that you're pointing in the right direction. Go and check out my series Vegan 2.0 for advice on evidence-based ways to help the most animals possible with very little effort. When you feel that sadness and anger of Vystopia, use it. Channel that feeling into action for animals, and use that sadness and anger as your fuel. We want vegans to be as active as possible. Often that means encouraging vegans to care more or to constantly rediscover that they care. For that reason, a lot of activists say that even vegans should be continuing to engage with materials like Dominion and Earthlings in order to stay motivated and keep up their activism. I can see an argument for that, but it assumes that you actually need to stay motivated to keep up your activism. And that's no longer the case. Doing activism doesn't have to mean being motivated all the time to drag yourself out of bed on a Saturday and go to the march. We can now automate a lot of our important activism, meaning that it's no longer necessary to be constantly overflowing with righteous indignation in order to keep up the motivation to engage in activism. When you automate your activism, it happens automatically without you having to think about it at all. I give hundreds of pounds a month to animal charities, and I do it by direct debit. I don't have to think about it any more than I have to think about my electricity bill. I don't have to be shocked into rediscovering that I care enough about animals to give a few quid here and there. I just sat down once, realised that I cared about animals and that giving a portion of my income to effective animal charities was the right thing to do, and I set it up, and now it happens automatically without me thinking about it. Let me tell you, I have never once regretted this decision. If you're on the fence about whether to set up regular donations to effective animal charities, consider this your invitation to go ahead and do it. Get yourself over to Animal Charity Evaluators or to the EA Animal Welfare Funds and set up a regular monthly donation. If you can afford to, please give a significant amount of money. Animals need this. As well as your donations, you can also think about automating your social media posts. I've been recommended this platform, Buffer. It has a free tier where you can schedule up to 10 posts on up to 3 different platforms. And this basically enables you to spend a couple of hours a month setting up that month's social media posts and then not think about it for the rest of the time. Again, there's no need to rely on having to stumble on something that moves you to tears before you actually share anything with your friends and family. Set up your social media sharing in advance, and then you know that it's handled, and you save yourself having to remember that you care enough to post. A really striking part of Vystopia is the feeling of isolation. If you told your friends and family that you were suffering with depression, they'd probably be sympathetic and want to help you. But if you told them that it was connected to feeling sad about factory farming, they probably don't take you seriously, and they might even start to argue with you. If you suffer from Vystopia, it's important to connect with other people who understand your experience. A few short decades ago, this would have been really difficult to do, but now with the internet, it's trivially easy. The Vystopia subreddit has over 8,000 members. The Vystopia support group on Facebook has about 4,500 members. And there are countless other communities online filled with vegans who understand and feel the same way that you're feeling. And you're welcome in our community. The Discord server is starting to take off. See this graph, you can see that a few members are added each time I plug the server in a video. And in my most recent video about the Vegan 2.0 app, our membership pretty much doubled. We are now officially an active vegan community, and you can join at dsc.gg/ChrisBryantPhD. We'll be pleased to welcome you there. As with all of this advice, this is not just for you, it's really for the animals. Being a part of these communities will tend to make you stay vegan for longer and tend to make you be a more active vegan than you would have been otherwise. Our future selves are a product of the habits and communities that we establish today. If you want to become a stronger soldier for animals, get yourself into vegan communities. Being part of these communities will help you to feel less alone, and in the long term it will make you a more engaged and active advocate for animals. If you spend time thinking about factory farming, you might start to experience Vystopia, a feeling of overwhelming sadness and anger towards the non-vegan world. Those powerful negative emotions are not purely negative experiences. They can be channeled into relentless and committed action for animals. When you need to give yourself space from those negative emotions, you can do this by automating your activism, allowing you to take a step back while knowing that you're still contributing to helping animals. And when you need to share and alleviate those negative emotions, you can do this by joining vegan communities like mine at dsc.gg/ChrisBryantPhD. Your experience of Vystopia is real and it matters, and you can take these steps to suffer less while helping animals to suffer less too. If you found this video helpful, please consider sharing it with somebody who might be suffering from Vystopia. This is Chris Bryant, PhD. Cheers.